I'm a physiotherapist working at St Helens Hospital Specialist Spoke Rehabilitation Unit. Worked there for nearly 2 years, and I meet the patients right at the beginning of their stay, and I perform the initial assessment to try and establish a baseline with them and look at setting some realistic goals of what they might achieve throughout their stay in rehab. I think being a physiotherapist, it's important to meet them really early on and implement that programme as soon as physically possible, and then that will aid the speed of their recovery to help them achieve their absolute potential in rehabilitation. I work with them really closely right up until discharge, but then at that point it doesn't end for them there. They will continue to see physiotherapists out in the community settings or in an outpatient setting if that's more appropriate, where they will continue to set new goals and achieve more targets. For quite a few years I moved around different areas of trauma and rehabilitation and recognised the gap for more specialist centres which look at more complex injuries and illnesses. So when the initiative to set up trauma and rehabilitation pathways came about, I was really excited by it and was anxiously looking for jobs that cropped up in the area. And it wasn't a chance that I wanted to miss when it came up here. I think working in specialist rehabilitation, I get to meet a lot of different people with different diagnoses, so it is a challenge for me every day and it makes me keep my skills up, and it's very motivating for me as a therapist. I think developing a relationship with my patients early on is of utmost importance. They can be here for up to 4 months, so they need to know that they are working with someone that they can trust and that they've got confidence in. And if I don't develop that relationship early on with them, they're not going to have trust and confidence in me, and that can result in lack of enthusiasm and motivation for the patients. I like to look at them as individuals, and as soon as they come to us, like to find out what their role in life is. Are they a mother or a sister or maybe a best friend to someone? And you can start to tailor their rehab around what it is that's important to them. That lets them know that their rehabilitation programme is specific to them. It's not just something that we roll out across all of our patients here. It's tailored to their needs and what their wishes are and what their goals are to get out of rehabilitation. Forming a relationship with patients' families, relatives and carers is really important to me because they're the ones that are going to provide a lot of motivation for the patients. They're also the ones that when patients are discharged, they're going to be spending every day with. It's not the healthcare professionals that they've been working with on a daily basis. When there's the opportunity, I like to invite patients' relatives into some of the sessions, if the patient agrees, of course, to be able to allow them to see the progress that patients are making, because there's no nicer feeling than a family being able to witness their relative making progress and learning what their role in life is going to be again. Rehabilitation is a very long process, and I think there's two main factors that influence how successful that's going to be. The first is communication. And that's not just between colleagues and professionals, but it's communication with the patients, with their families, with their carers, with the services that they're going to be moving on to when they leave us, because that will enable them to have a really smooth transition from where they are here in inpatient rehabilitation into home. It also gives them the feeling that the services they're accessing really know about them, and it's that personal tailored care that I was talking about earlier. If they go to a service and they don't know about them, then they may as well be starting from scratch. And I think the network really offers a really lovely smooth transition from service to service, which means the patients maintain focus on what their goals are no matter where they are in the network. The second is ongoing review. I think with rehabilitation being a very long process, it's easy to lose track of where you're up to as a patient and as a clinician. So having regular reviews and that open conversation of where you're up to and where you'd like to get to is of utmost importance, so that you know that you're both going in the same direction, you have shared goals with your colleagues and with your patient, and that end goal of what they're wanting to achieve is realistic. For me, no matter where I've worked, I've always had job satisfaction, because I became a physiotherapist through my desire of wanting to work with people and have a positive impact on their lives. So no matter where I've worked, I've been able to achieve that. But for me, working at Seddon Suite and part of the Cheshire and Merseyside Rehab Network, I've had so much more than that throughout my time here. Every day poses a different challenge, but equally a different success. I get to work with patients and their families, their friends and their carers, and a wonderful team of experts, which means that I'm constantly driven and motivated, and there's not been a day where I've woken up and thought I don't want to go to work today.